Hello.
Oh,
The Cloud Brothers, Scott and I, Corey, have decided to explore something different this week because multi-cloud is becoming more popular and Microsoft Azure is fastly approaching the popularity of AWS. So we wanted to do an AWS to Azure services comparison, and looks like Microsoft has kindly already done a bit of the work for us. Right, Scott?
multi-cloud is the new cloud.
Multi-cloud is the new cloud.
Yeah.
Welcome to
And
it.
yes, and yes, I actually, it's funny because I've done this when I used to work for the last company. I started one of these things and started doing my own comparison, and then found this page when I was about halfway through. But I haven't looked at it for a long time. So apparently, it says it's going to take us 29 minutes to read.
Yeah, we're going to skim it, though. We're not going to
Yeah.
make this 29 minutes.
All right.
We may look at a few things in the actual console and go back and forth between it. But we'll see. We're just going to
All
go
right.
through this first and see.
Let's get into it.
All right. Roll them. AWS has our service comparison.
Yeah.
First things first, we will throw this link in the description below, right beside that like and subscribe button. Don't be afraid to click those too. The article here helps you understand how the AWS compares with Azure, and it's actually a pretty comprehensive list here, which will
Yeah.
show you by the headline here. Marketplace.
Yeah. So marketplace is. I'm going to not read the things. I'm going to try to do my own interpretations. In marketplaces where they have pre-packaged solutions for whatever cloud provider it is. So say you want a WordPress thing, somebody will have a WordPress thing in marketplace, or security thing like F5 is a security thing that I know of that is in AWS Marketplace. I'm sure Azure Marketplace has a similar.
Yeah, it says the easy to deploy and automatically configured third-party apps, including single virtual machine or multiple virtual machine solutions. And
Yeah,
their name is conveniently, one's called AWS and the other one's called Azure, but they're both called Marketplace underneath those
yeah,
umbrellas.
yeah.
And then you have a whole list of things here under AI and machine learning. SageMaker in AWS is machine learning in Azure. It's pretty simple.
Right. Yeah.
We've talked about this a few times on previous
The
recognition.
poly. Yeah.
Recognition is cognitive services. I don't know that I've talked about Poly. I think you've mentioned it, but it enables both speech to text and text into speech capabilities. That's cool. And then recognition is the one, if I remember right, that processes visual data. Like it'll tell you if you're not social distancing or whatever in the height of the pandemic. And then I guess the ideas are to detect, identify, and analyze faces and facial expressions in photos. So
There's all kinds of things. One of the ones that I saw in that when we were looking at that camera is the one that the guy had a cat that was going to come into his place, and it had a mouse in his mouth when he was coming in the cat door, and he didn't want dead mice in his place, so he set up a recognition camera to lock the gate or unlock the gate depending if the cat had a mouse in its mouth or not.
that's pretty funny. It's really cool.
Yeah, yeah,
And then big data and analytics is Redshift for AWS. That's called Synapse Analytics. So that's
yeah,
data lakes, or what do they call them? Warehousing, data
yeah,
warehouses.
yeah.
Um,
Never heard of lake formation or data share before, but I know in big data there's a term called data lakes. Data lake, where you put all your data.
yeah, yeah. So
Um,
it's a simple and safe service for sharing big data.
yeah,
This we were just talking about a few minutes ago before we started recording. Amazon TimeStream and Azure Data Explorer. Uh, So, fully managed low latency distributed big data analytics platform that runs complex queries
oh,
across petabytes of data, highly optimized for log and time series data. So this and the
yeah.
second one's for Internet of Things analytics service. So I
So
don't,
time stream.
yeah,
What's the, okay, so my question would be, what's the difference between this and Kinesis? So that, yeah, I don't know the answer to that question, but that would be.
Yeah, I don't know. Big data processing. This is all Elastic
Oh,
MapReduce. EMR does
yeah.
all these things.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder why they split it in Azure so much. Yeah, their data lake storage,
Yeah, it's
HD
interesting.
Insights, Databricks.
And that
All right.
in this document, though, we're just glossing over them. I'm not even going to
Yeah,
open
yeah,
these,
yeah,
but they're
yeah.
all here that'll explain everything. Data orchestration, or the ETL, extract, transform, load,
Thank you
data
for that.
pipeline, glue, data factory. So, you know,
So Glue is something I've heard of that I don't 100% understand. United Data Governance Service that helps you govern your on-premise multi-cloud and software as a service data.
yeah, and
I
it's
don't.
as well. You just keep it. Think of it. It's sort of in the description that I just said here. It's
Right, right,
data
right.
orchestration. It extracts, transform, and loads it for you. It's just data orchestration.
Oh yes, and the
It's
DynamoDBs. What
yeah,
do they call it? What do they call it in Azure? Table storage CosmoDB is.
and
Oh, I think that's two
they're two
different
different
things. Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah.
this one's table storage. It's Cosmo DB. No SQL key value stored for rapid development using massive semi-structured data. And we probably have to get deep into it to understand. But
Oh, it's funny. It's funny they use semi-structured instead of unstructured. That's
yeah, it's
interesting
interesting.
because it
Okay,
is more semi-structured.
and then
Yeah.
so the difference between time series. So it's something we'd have to look into. It could be another video, honestly. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, is analytics and visualization. This is where Kinesis lives on this list. So
Right.
interestingly enough, Kinesis Analytics has one umbrella, and they have one,
Yeah.
two, three, four,
Yeah.
and they both do the same thing. So I'm not sure why. There's probably a good reason. It's just probably a
Yeah.
difference in their thinking. QuickSight and whatever this is, Power BL or
Power
BI.
business.
Oh, business intelligence.
Yeah. Business.
Okay. Tools that build visualizations, perform ad hoc analysis, and develop business insights from data.
Yeah.
Athena.
Yeah. We know it. We
We
know
all know
Athena.
this. Compute.
We
Here's
know compute.
so this is what I thought when this is what I thought it was. From the brief time I looked at Azure before, Amazon EC2 instance types equals Azure virtual machines. So
Yeah.
EC2 instances are AWS virtual machines. So this is just a more like linear name, I guess you could say. VMware Cloud and AWS Azure VMware solution, parallel
That's
cluster,
interesting.
and cycle cloud. Okay, here's your AWS auto scaling,
Yeah.
virtual machine scale sets, app service auto scale.
Okay.
Oh, this one's you could guess
Batch
AWS
and
batch
batch and
and
batch.
Azure batch. Those are batch processing that helps you manage compute intensive work across a scalable collection of VMs. It says,
Batch, batch, batch.
and then
Fun to say
storage,
batch.
EBS. They call it blob storage instead of block storage.
Blob.
All right.
It's interesting, yeah.
EC2 instance store and Azure temporary storage
That makes sense.
means the same
That
thing.
makes,
Amazon EBS provisioned IOPS volume equals Azure premium storage.
oh, that's interesting.
That's higher performance disk input output with premium storage. This storage is similar to AWS provisioned IOPS storage options, obviously. That's why it's beside it. Amazon
And
EFS is equal to Azure files. That I wouldn't have guessed that.
I love the description, though. Look at the description. Azure files provide VMs with similar functionality to Amazon EFS.
This is a funny list. Yeah, containers and container orchestration. ECS equals container instances. That adds up. Container
Yeah.
registry. Container registry.
Container,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Docker. It's a Docker format images.
Yeah.
Kubernetes EKS equals Kubernetes AKS. X and
AKS.
X. X and X. AWS App Mesh equals Azure Service Fabric. Okay.
Microservices based. Yeah, service mesh. I'm hearing more and more and more about a service mesh after,
That's
well,
because
just recently.
that's because of the confirmation bias that our friend got us started on by telling us about Mesh.
Yeah.
Serverless computing, Lambda versus
Lambda, Lambda, Lambda.
web
It's,
jobs,
yeah.
Azure Functions and web jobs.
Yeah, AWS Lambda is Azure Functions.
Yeah, and then it says
Uh,
web blobs for some reason, whatever those are. We'll have to look into that.
yeah, I don't know what WebLogs are.
Database, the RDS is
Databases.
SQL, database for MySQL, database for PostgreSQL, database for MariaDB.
Yeah, that makes sense though to
Yeah,
me.
of course it does.
Yeah.
Serverless relational database, well, Aurora serverless, Azure SQL database serverless.
So we have not, or I have not touched
Huh.
the serverless database yet. Serverless database just kind of makes my brain go.
Yeah, NoSQL document, SimpleDB, Amazon Document DB. Looks like that's all covered by Cosmos DB. So
Cosmos.
Cosmos DB is a
Oh,
globally
Cosmos.
distributed. Cosmos DB is a globally distributed multimodal database that natively supports multiple data models, including key value pairs, documents, graphs, and columnar.
Columnar. Columnar is a hard word.
Yeah,
Columnar.
Yeah,
Columnar.
Elasticache, cache for Redis. That's interesting. Non-transactional database migration, database migration service. Look at, they're the same. They're identical.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yep. So here's some DevOps. Here, this is your world you're used to.
Yeah.
CloudWatch X-Ray is monitor, code deploy, code commit, and code pipeline is called
Yeah.
DevOps.
Well, they call it Azure DevOps.
Fair enough.
That's not in there, but yeah, that's interesting.
It's
to me.
implied. Developer tools is developer
Oh.
tools. Code build is DevOps pipeline.
Yeah, and
And
GitHub Actions. We
Yeah.
should do a video on GitHub Actions. GitHub Actions is the coolest thing since sliced bread.
All right. I remember those times when sliced bread was the coolest thing. Not really.
Yeah.
Command line interface, CLI, and PowerShell. Look, kind of it makes sense.
He use both of them. It's like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
EKS cuddle.
Don't you use? Yeah, don't you use PowerShell
Use-
to do the CLI?
Oh, yes, that's correct. EKS cuddle.
X cuttlefish.
EKS and AKS. Oh my God, that's a hard one.
ASX.
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 That's the insurance company.
Yeah. ASX. AWS Cloud Shell and Azure Cloud Shell. An
Yeah,
interactive.
you introduced me to Cloud Shell.
Yeah, Cloud Shell's cool. OpsWorks, chef-based automation.
And in Azure, it's called automation.
Yeah. Configures and operates applications of all shapes and sizes and provides templates to create and manage a collection of resources. That's cool. CloudFormation on AWS is Resource Manager Bicep. That's a good name. VM extensions as whoa, the microphone did something weird. Provides a way for users to automate the manual, long-running, error-prone, and frequently repeated IT tasks. That's cool. IoT Core, IoT Hub. Greengrass, IoT Edge.
Greengrass is neat. You know what that is?
Well, I'm guessing it deploys cloud intelligence directly into IoT devices catering to on-premise scenarios.
Kind of. You can do IoT stuff when the device is not connected to the internet all the time. So say you're doing mining or farming or something and you don't have internet while you're out in the field. You have the thing that collects all the data, and then when you get back to internet connection, it uploads all the things from the IoT device to the cloud. That's Greengrass. And IoT Edge, apparently.
Yeah, and it deploys it. Like I can see that short description there says basically what you just said, but that was a good example of a use case. Kinesis, Firehose, and Streams are event hubs. See, even though it's Kinesis again, but it's Internet of Things.
Yeah.
Right, different than analytics.
Yeah.
Anyway, mass ingestion, blah blah blah. IoT things, digital twins.
Digital twins. We got Arnie, and nobody's going to understand this if they're not old enough, but Arnie and Danny DeVito.
Yep, it's fair. And here's management and governance. AWS organization is management groups. We know what that's for. AWS well advanced tool. Azure well architected review. Trusted advisor versus advisor. Can't trust that one though. AWS
Yeah.
billing and cost management. Has their cost management and billing.
Mm.
Wait a
Interesting.
second. Cost and usage report. Usage details API.
API.
Management console is the portal. So that's
Portal, yeah.
yeah, where you first
Yeah.
go into that. Application discovery service is migrate. Systems manager is monitor. Personal health dashboard is resource health. CloudTrail is activity log, which means the same thing basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
CloudWatch is application insights, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Config, application change, cost explorers, cost management, control tower, blueprints,
Yeah, that makes sense.
multi-subscription.
If you know, yeah, if you know what
Yep.
cloud trailer is.
Resource
Cloud
groups
trailer.
and tag editors, resource groups and tags. Apps config is Azure App Configuration Service Catalog is Azure Managed Applications. SDK and Tools is, sorry,
Wow.
SDKS and Tools.
I'm not going to get that one. I'm not going to remember.
Nope. Messaging and eventing SQS. Queue storage. Sounds like Sid's being driven nuts.
Yeah.
The girl has been talking nonstop for like days.
Oh, excited.
Yeah, so she's just teasing her back. Is what's happening. I can hear it.
Yeah.
She's not
Yeah.
mad. Simple notification service bus. Event bridge is event grid. Amazon Kinesis is events hub. It's interesting because Kinesis shows up in this 4 places by now. I think.
That's my problem with Kinesis. Is it covers a lot of things.
It does lots. Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be better to break it down into bite-sized chunks. Amazon MQ, so message queue is service
That's
bus.
not much, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me, but okay.
Mobile hub is mobile services, App Center, and Xamarin apps. Back end mobile services for app development and mobile solutions. Mobile SDK is App Center. Cognito is Azure Active Directory.
Okay, here's one. Here we stop on Cognito for a second because it was underneath the mobile services thing. I thought it was a mobile only thing, but it's just an authentication thing for a website. It doesn't necessarily have to be mobile.
Yeah,
but it can be mobile. I found it very confusing because we did
yeah, it is weird.
We did a lab where we're using Cognito for a little web app that we made, and I'm like, I thought that was only for mobile stuff, and it's like, no. Anyway,
Interesting.
it's
Okay.
an aside.
Yeah. Device Farm provides services to support testing for mobile applications, mobile analytics, and app is the App Center. Okay.
Yeah.
And then here we go. Networking, cloud virtual networking. It was a VPC. It's a virtual private cloud. On Azure, that's a virtual network.
Virtual network. Yeah.
A NAT gateway,
NAT.
and a virtual
NAT.
network NAT.
NAT.
Okay.
VPN gateway.
Yeah. Yeah. VPN
Route
gateway across the
53 is
board. Route
DNS.
53 is DNS. That's what it means.
Yeah.
So, Route 53 DNS-based routing is traffic management.
Okay, so
Manager.
Route 53, and they do this. Azure doesn't do it as much, but Amazon does.
Yeah.
Because DNS is on port 53.
Okay.
That's why they call it Route.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Dedicated network, direct connect. So it's for hybrid. Express, that's express route on...
Yeah, that's like
Azure.
a faster internet connection where you say, oh, it's not fast. The internet's not fast enough for us. We need a direct connection to the cloud to make it fast.
And then application load balancer is called application gateway in Azure. Custom route tables, user-defined routes.
Yeah,
That's logical. Private link is Azure private link. VPC endpoints are private endpoints. I could have guessed that. VPC peering is VNet peering. This is what?
No, just the VPC peering. It is basically virtual network. So those two things make sense.
Yeah. My CloudFront is Azure
As content network.
content delivery network. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Delivery network.
CDN. Yeah. VPC flow logs is Azure Network Watcher, which makes sense. And then here is security and authorization. IAM is Azure Active Directory.
Yeah.
IAM is Azure based Azure Role-Based Access Control, Organization Subscription Management.
RBAC.
Yeah, multi-factor authentication is Azure Active
That's
Directory.
the second. That's the second spot for organizations, by the way. Organizations is in a couple of titles, which also makes sense.
Yeah, it
Considering
has a fair amount of stuff, and it's in 2 in this one.
Yeah. Oh, it's in 2, and
It's
that's
actually 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Organizations is policy in Azure. Organizations is management groups. So they divide it up in Azure a little bit, it looks like. Here's some encryption server side with Amazon S3 key management service, and this says Azure storage service encryption. And then key management KMS with Cloud HSM is called Key Vault. So I guess that does too.
Yeah.
Firewall, web application firewall, same. Web application firewall is called Firewall. What?
Amazing.
What? Security Inspector Defender for Cloud.
Defender.
This is cooler. Sorry, AWS. This sounds cooler. That's an unusual thing for Microsoft to do. To be the cool guy in the room. Certificate Manager. Although the Xbox is pretty cool. So maybe I'm wrong. App Services certificates available on the portal. Guard Duty is Advanced Threat Protection.
Yeah, Guard Duty is kind of neat.
Do you like it? Artifact is Service Trust Portal. Shield is DDoS Protection. Which, that's a pretty good name. Like, honestly, how do I protect it? I'll pass this one on the exam. I can pass that question right now.
I think the Azure naming ones are a little easier.
Yeah,
they don't do the fancy stuff.
They're a little more logical, yeah. Simple S3, blob storage. Because
Yeah.
you know what it's for, right? Just from the name. It makes sense.
Do they just say it's the object storage service use case including cloud application?
Well, a lot of our vernacular are not... a lot of our vernacular for the way we talk about computers was made by Microsoft, so the logic just flows in our brain. Go on, sorry.
I'm just trying to think. It's one of those things where we have that one word, the word. It's like, you get stuck on that one word. So I'm like, blob an object? Is object a blob? Are they the same thing? Because I think that's correct.
Could be an object, yeah.
I think that's correct because a blob is just like,
yeah,
and so that's an object. So it just takes whatever you give it. Uploads.
See, the only thing is, because of the movie The Blob, when I think of blob storage, my brain goes, it must auto scale.
Oh yeah,
it probably doesn't. It probably has to be set up to, but it's probably scalable. But I'm just guessing.
Yeah, I think that's a Mugford idiosyncrasy. But
yeah, that's true.
Comment below if you think the same.
That's when I was talking to somebody whose English was their 4th language, they were like, thing about English speakers that speak English as a first language is the definition of the word they say is really important. The message they're getting across is less important. In other languages, they're just you're trying to get the message across, so you're getting the point of what you want them to understand. And once you can see they got the point, that's why they can have a sentence or a paragraph in 3 different languages and then get a full understanding. It's really interesting.
That makes sense.
And that knowledge has made me calm down a bit on that.
Yeah, not me yet, obviously.
But it's still it's still in my head. Anyway, virtual server disks, EBS, managed disks.
Yeah.
EFS, files.
Files.
Archiving and backup S3 infrequent access, storage cool tier. S3 Glacier, deep archive, storage archive access tier, and then backup is backup.
Yeah.
AWS backup, that's a good one. Storage gateway and hybrid storage, they call that store simple. Cool. And then data sync is file sync, import export, disk is import export. And then this is bulk data transfer, by the way. Import export Snowball, Snowball Edge, and Snowmobile, they call it data box. So it's petabyte style transport. And then web applications is Elastic Beanstalk, app service, API gateways, CloudFront's content delivery network, global accelerator, front door, global accelerator, cross-regional load balancer, Lightsail is app service, app runner is web app for containers, Amplify is static web apps, and then hold on.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Sorry, Zoe's just right here beside me.
Yeah.
One
Pause.
sec. Yeah. All right. So we are on Workspaces AppStream, which is an Azure
And
Virtual Desktop, WorkLink, and it's an application proxy. What were you going to say?
no, I was just gonna say end user computing where we were.
Oh, okay. End user computing. Now here's the miscellaneous. This will probably be the end of it. Backend
Yeah.
process logic is step functions, which is logic apps. Enterprise application services, workmail, workdocs, Chime.
Yeah.
It's
Chime is what we're Chime is Amazon's like communication thing,
Oh, okay.
and they even people at Amazon don't like it very much, but they bought it and they're kind of stuck
Got
with
to
it.
use it. Maybe they'll improve it. Microsoft 365. I use that at work a lot.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
handy.
Yeah.
Game Lift for gaming is PlayFab. Managed services for hosting dedicated game servers. Media transcoding, Elastic Transcoder, media services, workflows, step function, logic apps. Again, that's back
Yeah.
end up here too. And
Yeah.
hybrid media elemental media convert, which is
Oh,
media services.
oh, you missed Outpost and Stack.
Oh, hybrid Outpost and Stack. Yeah, Azure Stack is a hybrid cloud platform that enables you to run services in your company's or service providers, data centers, developer. You can build apps on Azure Stack. You can then deploy them to either Azure Stack or Azure, or you can build truly hybrid apps that take advantage of connectivity between an Azure Stack
So they put a
cloud
little
and
mini.
Azure. That's cool.
They put a little mini Amazon and Azure. They put a little mini Amazon inside your data center.
Oh, so they make us like a small availability zone. Sort of.
I don't sorta. It's
Well,
yeah,
server, just a server.
Yeah, exactly.
Ground station, Azure order. Sorry, that's satellite. This is satellite. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
these ones are crazy. This is why there's so many satellite companies right now. Is you and I could, if we had the money, pay for ground station or Azure Orbital,
Rent time
and
on
we
a
could
satellite.
start our own satellite company.
Nice. Fully managed cloud-based ground station as a service, and then
Yeah,
quantum computing, which is I'm really interested in that, but I don't know much about it.
yeah,
Is Amazon Bracket, a misspelled bracket, and Azure
yeah.
Quantum. Managed quantum computing services that developers, researchers, and businesses can use to run quantum computing programs. And then, of course,
And
there's more learning. So I'd highly recommend. What's that? I'd highly, yeah,
more.
I'd highly recommend going, clicking the link in the description below while you're clicking like and subscribe, and
Yeah.
and look at all this stuff and look at all these examples of this because multi-cloud is the new cloud.
Multi-cloud is a new cloud. What I noticed about this thing before and now is most of the names make sense,
Yeah,
and Azure tries to not be as fancy with their naming. They're not as clever.
hmm
And the last thing I noticed is that that they split a fair amount of the services names into subsections rather than having them all in under one umbrella name thing. That's it.
yeah,
That's
fair enough. Well,
my
that's your 2 cents.
that's my 2 cents.
Okay. Yeah, it's cool. So look it up. We were just talking about our services comparison, and somebody did lots of the work. So now it's your turn. So go forth and learn about Azure,
Yeah, learn,
like we're going to. All
learn,
right.
damn it.
Thanks
Learn,
for
damn it.
thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.
Let me say that.